Hello from Form, your digital design library. In this video, digital modeler Whelan Soy takes one of our bark scans and uses Blender to turn it into an innovative container.
In this 3D modeling tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create this container using a 3D scan tree bark from Form. So let's get started. Okay, first I'm going to get rid of the default Blender cube, and then I'm going to select File, Import, Wavefront OBJ, and select the 3D bark. Okay, when you import in the 3D bark, you'll notice that you can't see it in the default 3D view. That's because the 3D mesh is scaled very big and out from the origin, whereas the origin is here. So we need to shift the geometry to the position of origin. So click on the origin button here, and then choose geometry to origin, and then press S and drag your mouse to scale down the object to a reasonable size. And after that, press 5 to go to orthographic view, press 1 to go to the front view, press R to rotate to straighten up the mesh, and go to the top view and rotate it until it matches the world axis in Blender. Press 3 to ensure that everything is lined up on the side view. The next thing you want to do is to trim, right? Trim the object here. We want to keep all these edges straight so that later we can stitch them together easily. So I'm gonna right mouse click to select this piece and then press tab to go into edit mode. Press A to deselect all the set object and press Z to go to wireframe mode. Press B to go to border select and left mouse click and drag to delete away by pressing X and deleting away the faces. Then I'm going to do the same for the rest of the edges. Okay, once the edges are trimmed, okay, you'll notice that the 3D mesh object has a very deep textured surface and it has a lot of overlapping faces, and this will cause a problem later on when you are trying to apply Boolean or trying to model the thickness into these surfaces. So what I'm going to do first is I want to apply a relax to sort of spread out the mesh. Okay, so you have to enable the relax plugin in Blender by going to File, User Preferences, and then select Add-ons and type in relax in the search and click on the checkbox here to enable it. I can turn this off, and while you're still in edit mode, alright, so you press A to select all the meshes here, then press W and choose the option relax. Okay, depending on the speed of your computer and how heavy this mesh is, this is going to take a while. So I'm going to apply a value of 20 iterations to spread out the triangular meshes. So now Blender is processing the mesh and relaxing it. Okay, so now it has relaxed the mesh, and if I press tab to go to object mode just to check, and then press Z to turn on shader mode, and you can see that I did not lose that much detail right on the mesh. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to scale and flatten this piece a bit, because later when I'm trying to thicken this, alright, I do not want to have too many of these overlapping meshes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale along the x-axis, S followed by X. Okay, now you notice that when I follow by X, scale along x-axis, it's scaling along its original local axis. So I need to freeze the scale first. So use this command in object mode, Control A, and select rotation and scale to freeze it. So now I can scale along the x-axis by pressing S followed by X, and then I'm going to scale along the z-axis a little bit, S followed by Z, and then I'm going to scale along the y-axis, S followed by Y. Okay, like so. Right, so I notice a little bit of geometry floating around here. You want to get rid of all these geometries, and what going to do? Press tab to go to edit mode, press A to deselect, and press B to select this piece here, delete away Okay, so this one wouldn't go away, so I'm gonna try to trim it away. Just go to my front view, use a box selection tool. Okay, I'm gonna go to wireframe mode, press A to deselect. Delete away the faces. Okay, so that worked. And now I'm going to edge mode to make sure that I have a selectable continuous edge that runs on either side. So this one goes up to here and here, that's fine. Then I'm going to try again, holding down the Alt, right mouse click. This one goes from here to here, that is fine. The most important thing is you need to have edge that goes from here to here, from one side to the end. Alright, so what I did was to hold down to Alt and right mouse click close to the edge. Okay, you might need to shift a bit, and you will continuously select this edge loop that runs across. Okay, so this is fine for me, but right now I need to adjust this edge. Okay, hold down to Alt, right mouse click to select the edge here. Alt. You want to deselect this section, so hold down to B and middle mouse click and drag to deselect, and then I'm going to press C to bring out the circular selection tool and middle mouse click to deselect. Okay, I'm going to grab and move this edge outwards like this, and I'm going to press S followed by X and then 0 to flatten it, and then I'm going to move it back close. Okay, because later on when I mirror this piece, the other side I expect it to be straight as well, so it's makes it easier for me to close the stitching. So I'm going to press A to deselect this, and next I'm going to press A to select all the faces, and I'm going to drag it to the left until it is lined up with the center or the origin. Okay, as of now I'm still in edit mode. Okay, so you do not want to pull the faces until the origin is outside. You want to pull it to the left while the origin is still inside, and then you're going to apply a symmetrize, where you duplicate another piece on the other side. So select symmetrize. Make sure you're always in the front orthographic view when you're doing that. Then press W and select symmetrize, and it will duplicate another piece and at the same time stitch it to the center. So now I can press A to deselect, and I should have a nice continuous piece with straight edges at both ends for me to join later on. Okay, so before I apply the deform modifier to bend this into a roll, I'm going to straighten the edge on top as well. So I'm going to go to edit mode again, holding down the Alt and right mouse click and select the edge, and then press 1 to go to front view, press B, middle mouse click and deselect. I'm going to go to wireframe mode, press C. Okay, sometimes you notice some sections will not be selected. You need to be in wireframe mode to do that. Or you can turn on this, let me go to shaded view. There's this limit selection to visible, but I prefer to select in wireframe mode in this case. Okay, now I just want to inspect and make sure that the top edge is selected. Okay, it's selected. Alright, cool. So now I'm going to drag this up a little bit and scale followed by Z and then press 0 just to flatten the entire edge. Okay, and I just move it down a little bit. Now I'm going to do the same for the bottom. So I'm going to press A to deselect the top edge first, and then Alt right mouse click to select the bottom edge, which should be continuous, and then drag and pull it down. Press S followed by Z, press 0 to flatten it, and then you can left mouse click to apply, and then I'm going to drag this up like so. Press A to deselect. So now we are ready to perform the deformation to roll this into a cylinder. Okay, so before we do that, let me check the normals. Make sure the normals are pointing in the right direction. So press N. Okay, and under the display, and then I'm going to show the normals. Okay, I need to go to edit mode to do that. So press tab to go to edit mode, press A to select everything, and then show the normals. And then you can see the normals are all pointing. Let me just increase the size of the normal a bit. Okay, so the normals are pointing in the direction of the green arrow here in the y-axis. So that is good. Okay, so now I'm going to apply a modifier. So I'm going to press the modifier button here and apply a simple deform, and I'm going to use bend. Okay, so I'm going to apply a value of, okay, because I know my normals are pointing this way. Okay, so if you notice this, you see that although I apply a deform, the mesh seems to be squashed. Okay, the reason is very simple. I did not apply a scale frozen. I did not freeze the scale, so let me just get rid of this modifier for now. And then I'm going to press make sure I'm in object mode, press Ctrl A and apply a rotation and scale freeze. Then now I'm going to apply the simple deform modifier and then change it to bend, and I want it to bend this direction. So usually -6.2 should be quite close. And then I'm going to manually adjust the value. Just click and drag and move your mouse very slowly until the edges touch. Okay, just zoom in and then very slowly move your mouse until the edges overlap. Okay, so now we're going to press A to deselect, and then I'm going to apply the deformation by hit apply. Okay, so now this deformation is permanent. I'm going to press tab to go to edit mode. I'm going to hide the normals. Okay, so I know the normals are now pointing in the right direction. So press A to deselect all these components. I'm going to press A, Alt A to select the edge, and you can see both edges are selected, which is good, but I do not want to select the top edge here. So I'm going to go to the front view, press B to box select, and middle mouse click ever so slightly to middle mouse click and drag ever so slightly to deselect the top edge. So make sure that the two edges here are selected continuously down. Okay, now go to the front view, press S followed by X 0, and the two edges now should overlap each other, and then apply a remove doubles. Okay, remove doubles, what it will do is that you remove any overlapping vertices that are sitting on top of each other. So just now the report says 153 vertices has been removed, and we know for sure that this edge is now stitched together. So now if I select on one vertex, you can see both edges are selected. So we got a closed stitch. So now I know that the normals are pointing outwards. Alright, we need to create a circular base for this container. Now before we do that, we need to thicken it. So I'm going to duplicate another piece. So while you're in edit mode, press A to select all the subcomponents, and then press Shift D. Now before you do that, you notice that my center is still at the origin. I need to move the origin of this object to the center here. So let me go to press A to deselect, and then press tab to go to object mode. Click on origin and then choose the option origin to geometry. Okay, so we calculate the rough position of the geometry. But it seems to me visually that the center is more here. So I'm going to use my cursor. I'm going to left mouse click and click the cursor here. And then use the origin function again. Origin to 3D cursor. Okay. So now I'm going to select the tree bark material. And then I'm going to go to tab to go to edit mode. Press A to select all the subcomponents. Then Shift D to duplicate. So now I've duplicated another piece. Alright, and it's following where my cursor is moving. Right mouse click so that it jumps back to its original location. Then I want you to press this command. Press scale, but if you scale this, right, the top and bottom will be scaled down as well. So press Shift Z so that you will scale only in the X and the Y axis without affecting the height of the cylinder. So scale it down, okay, to a rough thickness that you want. Okay, so now you have two shells, the internal and the outer shell. And then let me show you this in shaded mode so you can see. So you got the internal and the external shell. Both of these are identical in the same number of meshes and faces. Okay, so these two shells. So I want to join the edges. I want to cap the edges. You can use a command called bridging. So I'm going to go to edit mode, press A to deselect, then press Alt to right mouse click to select the edge loop, the open edge loop. Hold down to your shift key, Alt, and select the top edge loop here as well. And because these two contain the same edge loops, you can actually bridge them together. So press the special keys and choose the option bridge two edge loops. And now they are bridged together nicely. And now we're going to create the circular base below. Okay, we need to enable this plugin called Loop Tools. So let's go to File, User Preferences, and enable Loop Tools. So search for Loop, Mesh Loop Tools, enable the Loop Tools. Okay, and then you can turn this off. Now, this is how you do it. First, you select the edge loop here. Alright, and then you press E to extrude it, extrude the edge, and it'll be following the cursor. Right mouse click so that this edge will jump back to its original location, and then press S to scale it down ever so slightly, like so. Okay, while it is still being selected, press W and choose the Loop Tools and select Circle. So what Loop Tools will do is that you'll take these vertices and then arrange it in a perfect circle. Let's go to the top view and you can see. You can manually rotate this if you are not satisfied. Like for example, I can rotate this selection until I get everything evenly spread out. And then you can press E to extrude another loop, then press S to scale it down. Okay, so make sure you are always in your medium point. Otherwise it might scale wrong. Okay, I'm going to scale it down, but I'm not going to cap this hole yet. Okay, I'm going to scale it down. I'm going to leave this for later. Okay, so I created the base for this container. Now I'm going to create the external base. So holding down to your Alt and right mouse click to select the edge. Okay, so make sure you don't select this one. So press A to deselect and then select the outer edge here. Alright, by holding down to, let me just show you one more time. Press A to deselect, Alt, right mouse click, and then it should select the continuous edge loop. Press E to extrude. Alright, right mouse click so that it snaps back to place. Then press S to scale it out ever so slightly. Then use Loop Tools to create a circular shape. Alright, and let's go to the top view to make sure there is a nice circle. Right, we can actually shift the circle down a bit. Alright, and then we can scale it out some more. And then I'm going to press E to extrude again. And then press S to scale it out to form the base. And then press E to extrude again to form an edge. Right, scale it out ever so slightly to form a bevel. And then press E again to extrude, form the base, and then press E again to extrude, and then this time just press S to scale it down. Again, don't cap it up first. Okay, so now we need to subdivide the internal and the bottom face here. Alright, this is to facilitate easier 3D printing later on. So while in edit mode, Ctrl R to insert several edge loops. Okay, just roll out your mouse to insert the edge loop because these are four-sided faces. Do the same for inside. Ctrl R and then insert several edge loops. I'm going to insert one edge loop here as well, and maybe a couple here. Then press A to deselect. Then now we can go right to the center here. Alt, right mouse click. Okay, press A to deselect. I'm going to go wireframe mode. Okay, so now this is selected. You can press S to scale, and then you can use the command Alt M to merge. Okay, I'm not going to scale it down. I'm going to press Alt M and merge it at the center. Alright, I'm going to do the same for the one at the bottom here. So what I did was I just orbit down to the bottom here, just to tap this point. Press A to deselect, then hold down the Alt, right mouse click to select the edge. Okay, the edge loop here now is selected. Then press Alt M and merge at the center. Then press A to deselect. And now your container is complete. But before you can 3D print it, you need to change all these four-sided faces. You can see here four-sided faces into three-sided faces. Right. So you need to apply a modifier. But before you do that, let me go to object mode first. Then apply modifier and choose triangulate. Alright, and then hit apply. So now if you go to edit mode again, you can see that now all these quads has been transformed into triangular faces. Okay, the reason for keeping up with the same density here is to just keep it consistent with the rest of the mesh. And now everything is sealed together as one piece. So you should be able to print this out nicely with a 3D printer. Okay, so now let me just position it nicely. Okay, so let me just freeze the scale one more time. Press Ctrl A, rotation and scale. And most 3D printers accept the STL format, so you can just go to File and export it to the STL format here. Okay, so for 3D print work. So this is how you create an object, a 3D object, using a 3D scanned 3-bar in this case, for 3D printing. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something about 3D printing as well. Thanks for watching.